Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Leeahd. This week, I'm going to be talking about how to paint high-key paintings. Now, there are many ways to go about painting high-key paintings, and I'm not saying that my way is the only way, it's just how I approach it. What is a high-key painting? For anyone new to the concept, let's start with the basics. According to Wikipedia, a high-key image consists primarily of light tones with dark shadows. A photograph or painting like this features a narrow tonal range, mostly whites and light grays. High key in painting isn't quite the same as high key lighting in photography or cinema, but the idea is similar. So, why would you even want to paint a high key piece? Well, that's up to you. Personally, I love the challenge of it. It's an incredible exercise that pushes me to think differently. And of course, there's the mood. I know, I'm a broken record, but mood is really what I strive for. High-key paintings just have that soft, dreamy, light-filled quality that I adore. A lot of times, painters will implement a high-key palette only in certain circumstances, choosing to implement it only in scenes that naturally lend themselves to high-key color schemes, like snow or bright sunny beaches. I've done those kind of paintings as well, but this week I decided to mix it up. I'm starting with a 50% high key today, and raising the key every day as the week progresses. As I push the tonal range higher and higher, the subject matter is going to get simpler and simpler. Why? Because extremely high key work can get visually tricky. It's hard to distinguish forms when everything is so light. One of my own favorite high key paintings was a piece I did of a woman standing in a field. I entered it into an art competition under the figurative category, but the organizer moved it into abstract. Maybe they didn't understand what they were looking at, or maybe they didn't have the time to figure it out. Either way, it was an interesting moment that stuck with me. I'll admit, I'm a little nervous that my camera might struggle to capture these paintings properly. High-key pieces really do look so much better in person than they do online. When I start a high-key painting, the first thing I do is mix a key for myself. In this case, my darkest dark is around 50% gray. I used my framing card as a reference for my mix. You can see it here on my palette. This is my darkest dark. Some areas of the painting are technically darker, like where the black panel peeks through, but this isn't an academic exercise. My goal is to make a good painting, and if I need to bend the rules a little, I'm okay with that, as long as it serves the piece. Throughout the process, I keep checking my key to make sure I'm not going too dark. Because the value range is so compressed, it was important to start putting in my lights early. That helps me see the range I'm working with and gives me room to maneuver. I also rely on saturation, temperature, and hue shifts to clarify shapes and details. It's not perfect. Pushing the key higher limits your saturation unless you dive into neon colors, which is a whole other rabbit hole. The science behind neon colors is fascinating, and how to implement them in a painting is super interesting. But we'll save that discussion for another day. One of my favorite high-key painters is Angela Sung. She uses vibrant, saturated colors in her work that makes everything so clear and dynamic. Here are some examples of her work. Not all of the pieces are high-key, but many are. Here, I'm applying a 50% threshold filter. You can see that anything brighter than 50% gray turns white, and anything under turns black. You can see just how bright a lot of her paintings are, and yet they're still so saturated and clear. That said, you don't have to use bright colors. If you're going for a softer, moodier vibe, desaturated tones work beautifully. And if you include even one small saturated element, it will pop like crazy against the rest of the composition. Here are some quick tips and tricks for when you paint a high-key painting. Set a key. Pre-mix your darkest dark and keep it as a reference. It makes it so much easier to stay consistent. It doesn't need to be as extreme as this painting, especially when you first start out. You can build up to it. Choose the right subject. Start with something that naturally lends itself to a high-key palette, like a snowy scene or a bright day at the beach, and keep it simple. As you get more familiar with it, you can implement it anywhere you feel like. Use tools to check values. Most phones have a black and white filter in the camera app. It can help you see values regardless of saturation. Just be aware that it's not perfect, but it's a great assistant. If you are comfortable with programs such as Photoshop, you can lighten up your reference so you know what it'll look like as a high-key image. Depending on how the program handles that, you might have to boost the saturation to keep it from being too washed out, or decrease the saturation. Just keep an eye on the saturation is what I'm saying. Allow for small darks. Even just a few darker accents can add structure and clarity to your painting, and they'll still be a high-key painting. If you do try high-key painting, try pushing the key further and further in subsequent paintings. Even if it's just as an exercise, I think you'll gain a lot from it. I think practicing like this is a great way to develop your painting skills. It helps you develop your color mixing and gain control over your values, your saturation, and temperature. Today's painting features a character sitting on the ground in a parking structure. Why? Honestly, I have no idea. I saw the image online and thought it would be fun and challenging since it's not your normal snowy scene. I like the juxtaposition of the setting and the high-key palette. This piece came with its own challenges, like making her brown hair look brown without it blending into the rest of the image. Her hair, jacket, and headphones are all close in value, so I had to simplify and make some creative choices to keep things clear. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Stick it to the algorithms and share this with everyone you think would enjoy it. You can join my art community on Discord, link in the description along with my social media handles. And if today's painting caught your eye, it's available on my website for the special price of $250. Thanks for hanging out today. I can't wait to see you tomorrow for more high-key painting adventures. Have a great week and happy painting!